the world-renowned fight promoter Bob Arum, still very much alive, getting up there in age at this point, but he has floated out a plan to fix the morbid pay-per-view numbers in his favorite sport, the sport that made him a household name for those that are hardcore boxing fans, Bob Arum, the sport of boxing, of course. So the pay-per-view numbers have gone low, 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 low. How low can you go? It's been really bad in recent years as opposed to before when it was just mildly bad. So what is the plan here for Bob Arum, from Bob Arum, to fix the pay-per-view number? So Arum is suggesting, this is going to blow you away, lowering the prices of the pay-per-view. He was theorizing that a price reduction would be offset by the increased number of pay-per-view buys. Now, Arum was tossing out numbers. He was just talking this into reality, and he said on a podcast interview that the plan would be to lower the price per pay-per-view majorly. I mean, I'm talking massively. How big? Well, okay, I'll tell you. The plan would lower fight card pay-per-views from the current $80 to $100 down to $20 or $25. So if it's a $100 pay-per-view and they go to $25, then they have shaved off 75% of the price for that pay-per-view. But Arum believes that more people will actually buy the pay-per-views and they'll get their money back in the quantity of purchases. So let us discuss the question, should someone in boxing in this world test Bob Arum's theory on rolling back prices? Roll it back, roll it back, roll it back now. So I am nodding my head yes. Yes, absolutely. I've got flip phone, soupy, and lipstick. And we will connect all of these things together, and we are going to make the Baba Ganoush is what we're going to make. We're going to make the Baba Ganoush. Now, first of all, it is absolutely worth a try. The chances of it working are slim and none, but it's worth a try. Some promoter who's still in the game, Bob Arum's in the game, but he's getting up there in age. He's not as active as he was, nor should he be. But someone who's got some muscle here needs to have the intestinal fortitude to put this plan in motion. Boxing is essentially, they're being sucker punched by their own greed in the industry. Now, it's been whispered in hushed tones that the people who work in the bookkeeping part of pugilism know that the numbers are ghastly. But everyone's afraid to change. This is the model that they know, and they don't want to change it. So they continue to hold on tight to their flip phone while everyone else is using an iPhone and an Android. They're the ones that have the landline, the rotary landline, and then they got a flip phone, and they don't want to change. By hook or by crook, boxing is losing their lunch money. Now, I don't have any skin in the game. I'm not a boxing aficionado. I watch the big fights, but I don't have to watch because there's hardly any big fights. And when I say hook by crook, I'm talking about Captain Hook. If you visit Cutthroat Island, where Piracy has killed the business model of pay-per-view. There are hundreds of websites on the dark web, some of them not even on the dark web, that have pay-per-view fight cards for the mere price of pop-up ads. That you just have to click through some pop-up ads. That's a small inconvenience to save $100 on a pay-per-view card. The reason people are willing to risk the malware and the other various cyber viruses that come your way there is because the price is too expensive. Now, secondly, when you take a couple steps back, what must boxing do to become relevant? It's not relevant. It's just not. So they need some smelling salts is what they need. They're facing the old standing 8 count. Now, boxing can continue where they are right now. It's a hibernating bear. It's a niche sport. It's not like it's going to go away, but if you're looking for more of the market share and you want to have a helping hand, I will help you out here. You've got to adapt, right? You've got to adapt with the times and deal with what reality is today. And if they want to wake up as the hibernating bear and start growling, it would help if they took out a box of crayons and started coloring actually outside the lines. And no more soupy, as in alphabet soup. Okay, dump the alphabet soup. That's the first move. You throw a pie in its face, like that old Hollywood character Soupy Sales back in the day. One title belt in each weight class. That's it. That's all. Numero uno. One. Less is more. Now, in a perfect utopian world, you would have a boxing commissioner with some guts, with some machismo. I will not hold my breath because Major League Baseball, which is a much more valuable property, has a dope in Rob Manfred, as their commissioner. So a face of boxing, though, a living, breathing, walking, talking figure with gumption, right, who's got a vision. It also would help to have a bigger-than-life heavyweight boxer that has the Svengali effect. Now, there's some unique personalities there in the boxing game, but there's no one that has that Svengali effect to win the hearts, minds, and souls of the general public. All right, final thought. So as far as credibility, if you ask the question, how can boxing regain credibility? Well, it's got 100 years of not being credible. The first thing would be quality control. Now, Bob Arum, who is the sage of that sport, at age 90, God bless him, Bob Arum's 90 years old, going right down the rabbit hole, right? You got to appeal to the majority, not the minority. And what I mean by that is the majority of boxing fans, the base of boxing, they realize that the pay-per-view events are a sham, that they're shoddily put together. The promoters are attempting to give you as little quality boxing as they can possibly give you and make as much money. They want to squeeze every dollar out of you. That's how they play the game. I get it. And so they end up bamboozling the paying customer by putting lipstick on pigs and sending them into the ring. And only a shrinking minority of suckers are still willing to pay the full price. And it doesn't mean people aren't watching. They're still watching. They're just going to the pirate ship. And not every fight needs to be a pay-per-view. It used to be back in the old days. And I used to go to some fights in Vegas back in the day where it was common, up until about 20 years ago, it was common to see title fights on undercards. Now, most of the time, you have undercards filled with C and D listers. A mix of tomato cans over here and cream puffs over there. And it's proven with that and Piracy, people just aren't going to pay the full amount. So you test the model that Bob Arum came up with, lower price point. You put those cards on the table, and you're betting on the fact that there's more honest, God-fearing people out there that would say, okay, I can afford $20. I mean, that's like was it 3 gallons of gas? I can afford that rather than pirate the fight, but $80 or $100, well, I'm going to be on the pirate ship. Because you can't also offset the revenue. The idea that you're going to get 100,000, 200,000 more pay-per-view buys, I think that's unrealistic. But if there's more people that do end up paying, and I believe there will be, then you can offset the revenue by doing this thing we call advertising. And you can benefit from the fruits of your labor there with a little more advertising, bang for your buck.